All right,
We're
we are live
live.
actually. We are live, but there's a bit of a delay actually. But anyway, everyone, we're live. It's funny because people were trying to guess who the guest is, and I told Matt Beach that he would get he would get a gift if he finds it. He said Matt Diggity, and I said almost. Actually, it's a special guest. It's my dog. It's Cookie. So here we go. That's the guest. Matt, sorry, you're not getting a t-shirt. I know you wish you had it, but oh well. Sorry about that.
We'll send you some Authority Hacker socks when they come on the market.
We will do the Atari Hacker Socks at some point. Anyway, welcome everyone. We are starting in like 5 minutes. We're trying to let people come in, etc. This is a live stream, so if you're not used to the mechanics of live stream, basically YouTube sends notifications to people, and normally you essentially wait 5 to 10 minutes. I put a 1 minute timer initially, but normally streamers put about 10 minutes timer, and then eventually they start. Here we're just gonna chit chat and let people come in and just ask Mark how it's going. So how's it going,
Oh
Mark?
no. Oh no. I haven't prepared anything for it. I don't know. It's just fine. Like
Especially live.
really
Okay, one thing
sucks.
that people will realize is that Mark, he blanks a lot when we do the podcast normally,
Yeah.
but this is live now. So
This is gonna be terrible. Like I just go off on like a train of thought and then I'll be like, yeah, don't know where I was going with that really. Like,
yes,
let's just
so
pause here. And then there's not even that. It's like, let me think for 2.5 minutes about where I was and what I was actually trying to say to get back on track. So yeah.
yeah, so it might happen. I have a
I
news
tell,
before. Sorry, go ahead.
I tell you what, I want to give people a little sneak preview of a podcast I just did. So I just had a guest on. I'm not going to say who it was, but I made a game board. It's called the Game of Niches, and behind each post-it note is a niche. And basically, I was like, okay, pick a number, and then you have to come up with an email outreach template for link building for sites in that niche. And the results were quite interesting. So subscribe,
Okay.
stay tuned for that episode coming out in a few weeks' time.
That was actually my next thing on my list of like the pre-show, let's just call it. That was to tell people to not forget to subscribe. I checked the analytics, like about 50% of people who watch the podcast are not subscribed on YouTube. So
I've
yeah, don't.
noticed a lot of YouTubers in their YouTube videos specifically mentioning that as like a technique
It's
to
a
get
tactic,
more
yeah. Yeah, of
people.
course it is.
That's a yeah, for sure.
Because you're like an outsider and you're like yeah, it works pretty well. Oh, let's put some John Mueller Madanas. By the way, yeah, we are live this time. Usually the podcast is not live, but we are live now. We are starting in 3-4 minutes. But yeah, it gives you time to subscribe. Share this if you want to bring some people here. We're gonna talk about sites that got hit by the core updates. And a lot of people probably know that, but I'm not at all a believer in EAT. I mean, not in the sense that most people would look at it, at least. So it's going to be quite interesting to talk about that, look at this, maybe confront some theories that people have, and you guys can put that in the chat if you want. And if you want us to look at some sites, I have prepared some analysis for some sites already, so I can show you some interesting stuff. But we are live, so you guys can send us stuff that you want us to look at. You can send us questions on the chat on YouTube, and we will be, answering them and trying to help out and do what we can, really. So that's basically it. Yeah, you can see that people are telling in the chat that they got hit hard, etc. House Mission got hit in the literally first few iterations of these core updates as well, pretty much. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, Mark, can you lower the volume on your audio interface? Because I'm on the AirPods, because otherwise I can hear him in one
People
ear
are
only.
saying your audio sounds shit, Gail.
Do people say that? No, they say it's just lower. It's just they just
How
say
is
it's higher.
how is that? Is that a little bit quieter?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, the SM7B works, but I can hear Mark. I don't know, my AirPods are going crazy. I think there's a firmware issue, and I can hear him in one ear only, and then I will
Apple
just ask him to.
technology, it's always been terrible, Get a real
No, it's
headset.
just this one thing is pretty shit though. I agree. So we are going to be talking about this in about 2 minutes. I just wanted to ask people, where are you watching this from? Where is everyone from? What time is it where you are? Is usually when we do these, there's someone that's like, it's 5 a.m. where they are or something, and they just woke up to watch this. I can change. Okay, okay. I'm gonna change my audio. People piss me off. You. Oh yeah, I'm not
You
gonna
wanted
be
to do it
censored.
live. This is what happens, you know.
I'm not gonna be censored on this as well. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm gonna change this. Here you go. All right. I think I'm gonna. Is my audio better now?
Much better, yeah.
And now I hear you in both ears. Don't don't tell me. Don't
Okay.
ask me why. Oh no, never mind. You're back in my right ear only now.
Yeah, you can live with it.
Okay, I'll just make you a bit louder, and hopefully it's gonna be okay. Yeah, there's people in India, Bangladesh, 11 p.m., UK, 5 p.m. You're in the UK as well. I'm in Budapest. Bucharest, not Budapest.
I moved to the UK almost 2 years ago now. Fuck, that's been a long time I've been here.
Yeah, yeah. He used to live in Budapest as well. See, they can only hear me in one head, but like you don't.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So if you go to your settings and
Are we
then
better now? Is it better now? Did I fix it?
it's always been fine for me, but settings, advanced settings, stereo
Yeah,
audio input. Yeah.
I just changed it. Can you guys hear me better now? Can you guys hear me in both ears? And we're gonna get started after that.
So someone's also saying that the live title is wrong. It says multi-streaming with restream, maybe.
Okay, let me change that. Let me see if I can change that. Yeah, okay.
Can't get the stats these days.
It's not even that. It's that this platform just makes you do that. Analyzing.
Restream.
Penalize Google core update.
Yeah. Today we're talking about. So we did a podcast on Monday about core updates, algo updates, sites that got hit. A lot of people in the AH Pro and the Task Facebook groups were basically like, why did this site get hit? It makes no sense. So we started explaining it and unearthed somewhat of a rabbit hole of ideas and thoughts. It's a really deep topic. And as much as the SEO news sites would love to tell you that, hey, this is the one thing that changed, or this is what you need to do to fix it. It's actually like many things, and there's lots of layers to it. So we ran out of time on that show. It was already like an hour and a bit. We had a bunch to go through and a bunch more examples that people sent in, which we didn't have time to talk about. And I'm sure you guys in the chat on YouTube will have some sites that you want us to look at and give our take on why they may have been hit. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next hour and a half here tonight.
Okay. Well, we're having some tech issues more, but you know what? We're going to get started. We're live at this point. But this thing literally, Restream literally took the stream and just made another stream with that title that says Restream. But people are here. There's 53 people here, so whatever. We're going to start. Sorry about that, guys. We'll figure out live streaming, but we will do better. Oh, well. Okay, let's get started. So we are going to be actually looking at some sites here, which is going to be interesting. And the first one, let me just share my window here. And let us put a picture in picture. Okay, so the first site that I was asked to look at was RunnerClick. It's funny because we know the owner of RunnerClick actually. And so like this site got hit pretty hard from that update. So let me just put them in Ahrefs just to show you. So if you look at the organic search, obviously Ahrefs numbers, they are really, I'm going to put my microphone louder a bit. The numbers of Ahrefs, they're really not trustable, but the trend is kind of trustable. Like when a site goes down this much, you can tell that essentially people, I'm just checking because people are saying there's a graphic issue or something. Can you guys hear me properly?
I feel like it's just like random comments. It's like, oh yeah, graphics issue, can't hear you, only in the left ear. Fine, turn it up, turn it down.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to follow. Like I'm doing my best, but like
yeah, they're saying it's buzzing. I hear that as well. I don't know if it's your
is it bearable
or whatever. It's not the end of the world. I think we can proceed. Right, we'll fix it for next time.
Sorry guys, not perfect. You can see the stream is already messy, etc. But we're gonna do our best. Okay. Anyway, let's just jump back to this. So, yeah, traffic numbers in Ahrefs, don't trust it when they say 97K organic traffic.
It's not really 97K. Usually Ahrefs is massively underestimating the traffic. But the trend, you can trust it. Like you can probably trust that they went from, let's say, like we have 620K to like 90K. So probably that traffic divided by 6 probably over that time. That I would probably, between maybe 4 and 10, let's say. Let's put like a wide range around that, but you get the idea.
It's gone down.
Happened. So yeah, quite a bit actually. So the question is, what happened, right? And it's funny because look, this is the first one, and then it's like it goes down, and then they kind of like manage to recover, and then it just fall off a cliff after. So I can imagine kind of like the stress level of the owner of RunnerClick over these last 2 years, which must have been not very fun, to be honest. So I spent quite a bit of time checking them out. It's a really cool review site. It's a nice one. I mean, look, none of us has like such a nice animated homepage. And then they're not hiding the fact that they're a review site, right? So it's like maybe best running shoes for women. And then after that, they just have like really nice reviews, to be honest. It's not the most like content heavy. You can see it's very like graphical, let's just say that. And then they just like have like single reviews, etc. But it looks nice. It's been a model for a lot of H Pro members and test members in terms of like, oh, that's a nice site and I'd like to have a site like that. And they have like some kind of like, you can see they have even custom graphics for the headers, etc. Like it's not so bad, right? And they apparently, I guess that's their attempt at EAT, by the way, expert interviews and opinions. Like if an expert runner gives their opinion on this, they hope to get maybe some EAT credit here.
So when you say you don't believe in EAT, do you think all of that stuff is pointless?
So here's the thing, like, yes, I believe putting a marathoner on your page is kind of useless. What I think is that if there was a section that says, what is a running shoe? Then you would essentially display the fact that you know nothing about the topic or what people want. And that maybe would definitely be negative towards your site, So you need to demonstrate a level of understanding of the topic by the subtopics you pick when you write. So I guess that could count as EAT, but like it's not really putting some credits or putting like a title of something, but rather the subtopics you talk about on your page, So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And that's why I see everyone putting these doctors, etc. And this pet site we talked about in the podcast, it had all these vet stuff before they got penalized, and they still got destroyed by these updates, no matter what, right? And a lot of people put these EAT things on their sites and never recovered as well,
So I think that I think that a lot of people are trying to fix their EAT by slapping on an image of a doctor and saying, hey, this has been reviewed by Dr. whatever. For a health site, say. I don't think that's what Google really is looking for. I think this really comes from, what was it, the Quality Rater Guidelines document, I think, which was released a while, which asked the manual reviewers, so people who work for Google, who go to a site, who kind of manually rate certain quality aspects of it. One of the things that it asked for was around like, do they have some kind of qualification or experience, authority in the space? And for something like health, I can't remember if it's a specific example of like a doctor, but it obviously makes sense that this article on I don't know, back pain was reviewed by a doctor, right? But I think people, rather than actually making a good article which was reviewed by a doctor and which
they put the same article and they put a shitty autobox,
they found some doctor that they could pay off to say this was like reviewed by a doctor, and it didn't actually change any of the like underlying quality aspects of the site. So I think there's like a bit of a disconnect there, that the people trying to sort of fix.
I mean, it's typical SEOs trying to shortcut everything, right? It's like, oh yeah, we need EAT, sure, let me just put like a doctor title on my author box and that should be fine, and that's it, I did EAT, right? I think it's really, I mean, think about it, like Google will probably look more at do you match the user intent? Do you really answer the questions that are related to the topic, etc.? And these are essentially EAT. Like, you understand, you just, like, if someone's looking for best running shoes for women, you don't say what is a running shoe. People know that already. And then if you're an expert, you kind of understand that as well, right? Whereas if you're like a shitty freelance writer, you just put that because you saw it in Google suggestions, and that's, in my opinion, that's the problem, to be honest. And so we didn't really talk about their problem so far, right? But have you checked their content at all, RunnerClick?
Not
Like,
recently.
usually what I like to do when I check content is just like reading out loud, like a section, like flexibility. In general, women tend to have 15% lower body mass than men. This means shoes must have a deeper groove than they can provide greater flexibility, which is kind of smooth, natural. Like, I read this, I'm like, okay, this is actually this is interesting, but it's a general fact. And then through running system of the food season runners, it's okay. To be honest, it's actually kind of specific rather than be like, I don't think it's terrible content, to be honest. Like, I've read both. I think when I read that, I'm like, okay, they kind of research their topic at least. They might not be like a doctor or something, but they know what it is. But my problem with RunnerClick is that when they had a lot of success, I know because I observed them, right? When they were in that kind of like growing phase here, what they did is they ran out of running keywords. And because the site was pretty high authority, it's slower now because Ahrefs updated the way they calculate DR, but they used to be like 75 or something, where it was calculated a bit differently. They started to write about pretty much anything they could write about. And I'll give you an example. This is a page on RunnerClick. Best black tea reviewed, rated for quality. And so this exists. And it's funny, and see now they kind of have this updated by, I guess that's an attempt at EAT as well. But on a running site, I'm like, do you really want to be reviewing black tea? Do you think that's going to be relevant to to your audience? And it's like, I think they just diluted a lot their relevancy as a running domain. And just started to be a site about everything.
That's
right?
Interesting, because we see that in quite a few of the other examples, and quite a few of the examples we talked about on the podcast last Monday, is that there's these very, very broad sites that like review every product on Amazon, or they just cover so many different topics which aren't really related. It makes sense that, like, I can understand why RunnerClick in this case have branched out beyond running keywords, because they probably covered them all, and they're probably like number one or close to it for most of them. So
yeah, they were ranking for everything.
But it feels like this has actually then diluted the topical relevancy, and they've become a site about tea.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's not even that great of an article. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe twinning is like the best tea as well. Like, that's literally the one thing the first thing you find in the shop or something. But like, it's like, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, then I went to Google best black tea, right? And then it's funny because it's actually not even review sites that rank really. Like, these guys, they're like a tea shop, for example. So if you check that, like, okay, they have like something that looks like a roundup review, but really, actually, if you go on their homepage, they're a tea shop, right? So even like that chance of ranking for that keyword now makes no sense. And the second, if the homepage ever opens, perks of life. Usually when we do videos, we edit these crazy loading times sometimes. But yeah, these guys basically have like a shop, etc. So it's like that's what they do with some content.
So
interestingly, who ranks.
Just to like maybe counter what we're saying, Saeed in the chat is saying black tea is a prerequisite for marathon runners. So maybe there's some, like, it's something people drink before running. So
sure. Maybe, but you will find other random pages of random stuff. It's like, okay, you can wear sunglasses to run, but then they end up doing like, they end up just trying to do a sunglasses review site, for example, And it's like, you're getting really, 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 really broad, and the content itself just mentions running in the intro quickly. I think they might in the intro. Like if I just Command F run. Yeah, so they will mention that, like, oh, it gives you electrolytes, so it's kind of nice. So they try to kind of like tie it back up. But you know what I mean? Like, from the point of view of Google, it's just becoming a giant generalist site, and then you could say, but well, Like runners, they drink water, so we should do the water filters as well, and then we should do all of that, and then they wash their clothes, so we should probably do
the
washing
question
machines.
then becomes, where do you draw the line, and how do you tell, or if you have a site, how do you know when to stop kind of going broader?
It's a tricky one, but it's like the counterexample as well would be something like Forbes, right? Forbes reviews everything and ranks for everything pretty well, for example. Same with the Wirecutter, they do that. But the thing is, the difference is they're DR90. Like they're much, much higher authority. Essentially, there's kind of like that thing where the scope of what you can cover expands with your level of authority in the eyes of Google. It's like, if you're a tiny site, you're much better being focused on a small niche. And as you get to this DR80 plus, then you can start doing that. But essentially, RunnerClick is only DR64 at this point. So they're too low. Like they're too low to be doing that strategy. And it's not paying up. Is that the reason why they went down? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's kind of an issue I see with the site,
Have you looked at the other sites which now like kind of outrank them, or now ranking number one? Because I remember
for the running shoe stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Because I remember a while back that there wasn't that many like big running sites doing this well. Like 5 years ago, this was like the only site which had really good content about running shoes and really good reviews. The rest,
yeah. Let's check. So best running shoes for women, 26K search. So that's definitely one of the things. So Runner World. So that's an actual also specialized website into running stuff.
It's a magazine, I think, as well.
Yeah. It's big. It's like big authority. They're DR85, so they're much higher DR already.
Yeah.
So Google likes high DR size these days. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Fleet DR70. So DR70 is like
interesting.
Not so far.
Every single site except one, I think, was higher DR than RunnerClick.
Yeah. So there's an authority play here as well. Yeah. But I doubt these guys have a best black tea page, for example. So that was one of my things. But there's more about RunnerClick that I found. I'm taking a risk here. I'm opening my email online. So hopefully this works. Okay, good. There's nothing controversial that I'm showing here, so I'm happy. You know what we're looking at? We are looking at my Authority Hacker inbox. And essentially, they'll outreach to us to do a guest post on Authority Hacker for RunnerClick. And again, is that very relevant to try? It's like, if they outreach to us, they probably outreach to a lot of sites that are like not very, very relevant to RunnerClick.
You know what? Well. I think this, I don't believe that this is like such a big deal. So like, okay, they've outreached to us, but how many people have we outreached to that were totally relevant over the times, over the years? I think we have a page on Authority Hacker about like, we probably
best programs for runners or something, I guess.
Yeah, mentioned like affiliate programs in running and things like that. So I can see why they would have haven't maybe like manually filtered that, which is.
I agree, but when you're already facing an on-page relevancy issue, pretty much, and then on top of that, you start adding like less relevant links, etc. You see how this would essentially stack up to losing that like relevancy. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you do one of these, or if you don't like mass scale that, but I know RunnerClick, they've probably sent 100,000 emails like this, yeah. and that's kind of the issues, And it's like, yeah, that was a bit of a problem for me, and also I found a bunch of pretty much sure paid links as well.
Link building side note there. I really don't like the call to action in the email. It's like, please don't hesitate to contact me. Maybe we can work something out. Like they're not really asking you something specific. I would. It's nothing to do with penalties, but I'd really like to see them say like, what do you think of this, or can we do that? Yeah. Does that work for you? Do you like this? Anyway. Yeah.
So I also found things that I believe are paid links. I'm just gonna show two of them. It's funny because one of them was like on a local Hungarian news site that I actually read. So let's check it out. So this article basically like some guy doing like street workout on the bridges in Budapest. Very interesting. But yeah, Like, and then at the end, it's like, if you're an avid CrossFit enthusiast like myself, you know how important accessories can be. See more. Click, RunnerClick, best CrossFit review. And it's like, what? On
Yeah.
this news article, I'm like, yeah, this is incentivized, right? And I think I had another one here. Yeah, so this is like kind of like a travel blog as well. And if you look at umbrella, yeah, okay. Okay, this beach is perfect for lazy summer days, as it is equipped with plenty of umbrellas and sunbed. Okay, look, the guy's talking about a beach, right? When you click on umbrella, it's actually, they removed the article, I guess. I don't know what happened here, but live. But basically, these things took RunnerClick completely out of context as well. And I believe these are like paid links to the reviews, because there's no way anyone in their right mind would just link to something like this, to be honest. So there's also like,
I think you have to be doing that quite a lot before it's really going to.
yeah, but they have done that quite a lot, I believe. One thing as well is I tried to look at like, did they do any EAT stuff, but I didn't really see anything other than these things on top. So there's not much to talk about in terms of EAT for RunnerClick. Yeah, that's pretty much the 3 points I wanted to show on like questionable things that could have caused that downfall.
Like,
it's not super bad.
So
yeah.
Something I just don't like about the site is that there's a lot of like not content density.
Yeah. It's very visual.
A lot of gaps, like a lot of spaces, areas specifically near the top of the content, which doesn't really have much in it. Like if you scroll up to just after the intro,
Yeah.
like all this section, yeah. Like below that, like the big table they had is it's kind of like the content doesn't really like this is like nothingness, and like you know I do wonder if people are kind of like coming to the page and then not necessarily like reading straight away because there's just this kind of like filler stuff up.
You know what I hate as well is like I can't right click. I wanted to see what it looks like on mobile, but I can't even do that because it's like,
blocked it.
I can't inspect here. So it's interesting. There might be. I didn't check the code of the site, but it's a weird one, right? It's like it's one of these where like you try to right click on it, it doesn't even trigger any menu, etc. Like I'm questioning the quality of the code of the site as well, and like the how crawlable that is essentially, if they're blocking some stuff. So yeah, that's a problem. Why do they do that? Why no right click?
By the way, how can I like get someone's comment up there like you've just done with Megan's? Do I have that?
You need to click on it. Are you allowed? No, I don't think you have enough clout yet. Sorry.
Maybe one of these days.
Sorry.
But Megan makes a pretty good point. Like, why do they do that? Why no right click? I think it's to stop people probably copying their images, copying their content in a way. You can't ever stop people doing it. You can always like inspect the code and get the stuff out, save it, whatever. It just makes it a little bit harder. To be honest, it's a bit weird. I think sites were doing this 10 years ago, 11 years ago when I first started doing SEO to stop like copycats. But yeah, not really that.
Thank you for the chat. The chat helped me. It's like I just had to go to the menu and I could do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it's kind of pointless, and I feel like it kind of hurts navigation because I don't know about you, but when I'm on my desktop, I often don't click on left click on a link. I right click and then open a new tab.
Yeah. So you can come back.
You can't do that. That's a bit.
It's annoying. I hate it. Yeah, it's not so bad on mobile, to be honest.
Maybe that's impacting their user metrics in some way, and that's also contributing towards their penalty in some small part at least.
Yeah, so it's I mean I'm wondering how like it might be like it's probably like these things are probably like an accumulation of things, right? Like losing relevancy, plus the site is not very nice, very usable, like it's not very crawlable or something like this, and you kind of add all of these, and on top of that there is higher DR sites that kind of like have the same level of content, etc. And then you could understand why this might have nothing to do with like EAT. I don't even think the content is that terrible. It's just that you add all these little things and eventually you're just not a top player anymore, you know? And I think that's what cost RunnerClick at least some of that what happened. Obviously, all of this is supposition. We are not 100% sure. Nobody can tell you exactly what these updates do. I prefer to repeat that because people.
Yeah, our goal here is just to give you some of the way we give you insight into the way we think about how these things can perhaps be explained. One thing I want to mention as well is that RunnerClick was one of, if not the first, big running review website out there. And so they were creating this, they built the site, they structured it, they planned it, they started working at a time when there wasn't really that much competition. So they just had to kind of be better than everyone else. But then they set the new bar standard for this is how good a running affiliate site should be. And everyone else who's now overtaken them has obviously looked at them at some point and thinking, how can we do better? So that like competition element has driven other sites to then be better. But you may find that RunnerClick were maybe a little bit stuck in their ways about how they were doing things in the past. And I know we've had sites like Health Ambition, a perfect example. Like when you created it in 2012, 13, whenever it was, the competition and just the whole dynamic of that was very, very different to what it was in 2018.
Yeah.
And stuck with this archaic site built on different level of standards, and that was probably a big contributor towards
Yeah,
why it got penalized.
I think he gave up. Like I was checking the level of publication, and like they used to publish hundreds of articles per month, and now there's just like there's a little bit of republishing, but I think he's just maintaining the stuff that's still ranking, and just like he kind of gave up on the rest. So very similar scenario to what happened to House Ambition. When you have a site that's like it get hits like that, like you lose, let's say 90% of the revenue or something, and you know that there's like some fundamentals that are wrong, like even rebuilding that site. Can you imagine like doing the QA for all the content types they have, etc.? Like it's hundreds and hundreds of hours of work and a large investment for a site that doesn't really make that much money anymore. And you kind of ask the question, do I put that money into that site that Google clearly doesn't like right now? Or do I take the same money, time, and effort and put this into another project? And I essentially fix the stuff, like take the learnings from this and do something better. And it's kind of like, it's the decisions we made with House Ambition, and I believe that he's kind of like 80-20ing the 80-20ing. It's a new verb. The revenue on RunnerClick, but it's like they're not really trying to like save the site or something. They're just milking the long tail revenue.
If I owned it and this was like the only site I was working on, didn't have anything else, then there's a first decision: do you save it? Do you do something else? To be honest, I think this is a site that's savable. That's like could be fixed, but you need like a full overhaul of everything.
Project.
Really. From like link audit and possibly like removal, disavow of some. The content is the main thing. I think you need to figure out like how to be the best at content once again, and then change things around. Do an SEO audit of just usability, technical SEO, all the stuff that you probably haven't been doing over a few years since you like kind of set the site up. Which begs the question though, like if you're going to do all that stuff, isn't it actually easier just to start a new site? And to an extent, yeah, it's actually easier to do that on a new site. That's why we've done that in the past, or other people may choose to do that. So yeah, it can be a little bit difficult, that one, to do an existing site, but it does have very high DR, and I think you could make some good progress quite quickly with just doing a few of those things.
Yeah, I think they've tried to do some, like, because look at that umbrella link, for example. When I clicked it, it didn't exist anymore. They might have like retightened the site, but like I do remember I was observing it when it was growing fast, and they were really publishing about random stuff, like. It's like almost like they almost had like best game controller, stuff like that, like on that level. Yeah, the question from Paul, I guess you kind of half answered, was like, if you guys own RunnerClick, what would you do to regain traffic? Yeah, is that kind of like big fixing, like refocusing the site, removing, like really cleaning up the link profile just in case, and maybe publishing kind of like pure info content that's very related to running as well. Maybe try to get more engagement around like running social communities and things like that. But it's hard. Like it doesn't mean it would work necessarily. And I wouldn't say like, oh, we have the solution, and if we had it, we would be so great. The owner is terrible. I would not say that, because they're pretty good, the guys who run RunnerClick, actually. So yeah, that's basically it. By the way, there's 93 people live, actually. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
So despite the fact that the stream is called more like restream
I know.
bullshit stuff. so thank you for showing up.
Bio.
I hope they send us some socks at least, like for this, for the advertisement. Anyway,
Can we talk about another site?
Yeah, that's the plan. So I'm going to bring this up, and we're gonna go in this setup. Look at that amazing tech, though. Restream doing a pretty good job. So we're gonna talk about this site called BestOfMachinery.com. And same, it's very similar model to RunnerClick. They are an assumed review site. They are not trying to hide that behind pure info content and stuff like that. Like, nope, we just review tools and power tools and like drills and saws and stuff like that, right? That's what they do. So this site, in my opinion, has a bit of a different problem. But first, let's check it in Ahrefs. I think that's going to be interesting for people to see what happened. It's a newer site as well. So you can see they started in 2018, and it went like they actually grew during the time of these correlates, right? These correlates existed already at that point. So they did a really good job at growth, and then they did a really good job at killing that growth after that. So that's what happened to that site, and so it was given.
That's a much more dramatic decline. That's like they've been massively knocked off by
by a lot. Like look, they went from 500, like even more. Like they were at like 650K, and now they're at 4K. Like these, even health submission is not that bad, and it's a lot. It's a lot to say that. So, but it is an interesting site as well, and I think they have a different set of challenges. So let's just check it out. Usually, what I like to do is again read some content right when this happens. So if I can manage to copy that URL on my notes on my other screen. I am going to paste this here. And again, typical review thing, but construction boost for machinery stuff. Okay, relevant. I have no problem with that. But I wanted to read the section on comfort in the buyer guide. So let me just go and find that. So you can see they have mini product reviews, durability, comfort. Okay, let's read this paragraph. Speaking of being comfortable, the level of comfort offered by construction boots can help a lot in a wide range of scenarios. The more comfortable you are, the easier your work will become and the less likely you are to suffer due to the lack of comfort. How many times can we say comfort in a sentence, guys? Like, I'm sorry, but...
That is amazing. I love that sentence.
So pretty much the entire page is like that, right? So it's like people are like, oh, this is a great site, it looks great, etc. I'm sorry, but this is complete crap. There was zero information in that sentence, and they've said comfort like at least 8 times in one sentence. It's even worse than my writing. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but no, it's so I looked at one of their examples and the 10 best tile saws in 2020. By the way, they haven't updated 2020 to 2021 yet, which is a major mistake. But it starts by explaining what a tile is. Like tiles will make that dramatic change, and you will need them to be able to suit your new interior.
Yes.
The only problem is
thank you very much.
Buy standard size tile. Like this is a classic case of someone's given a writer a keyword, like who write an article about that, and a writer who thinks they know what they're doing has written an intro where they explain what they're going to talk about, and then talked about each of the products, and there's just no care and no love, and they've missed out on the kind of relevancy and what that means to the person who's searching for this. Someone who is looking for a tile saw knows what a tile.
They know what it is.
And what a tile is, certainly. So
it's not even that, but they know a lot because you can rent these. Like normally you can rent these in the construction shop, and so if you're just doing one quick tiling job outdoor yourself, you're not gonna buy this. You're gonna rent it out for $50 or something, because this is quite expensive. The people who buy this do tiling regularly, all are professionals, you know, and it's like it's really, really not the audience, you know.
I mean, you can get a lot of like amateur DIY enthusiasts that want to, you know, renovate their bathroom or something. Like I get that, you know. I've bought way overpriced electric drills for, you know, putting together a desk or something. It's like
Okay.
it's
Okay,
a
I don't do
thing.
that.
But even then, like when I'm looking for like an impact driver or like electric screwdriver type thing, I know, like I already know what that is. Like I just need to know like what's the difference between the different sizes and speeds and like battery types and all that kind of stuff. So you need to think about what your audience already knows about the product when you're writing the content. Someone in the YouTube comments is saying, is it AI generated? Maybe. I don't think this is. It's too good for AI. I mean, GPT-3 stuff. Maybe I don't know. But
No,
it seems like the site's
it's
been
a
around
cheap
for a
human.
while. Yeah, it's a cheap human. Someone else said, I don't know where it went. Like, yeah, Roy says, what I still don't get is how webmasters put tons of effort in when it comes to the content or the site, but they pay 1 cent per word, and then they just get like a shit writer to do it. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Like content is the thing about your website, which you have the most control over and which the quality of most affects how well your site is going to do. So it's the most important thing, unsurprisingly, for a content site. So you better make it, you know, really good. And if you drop the ball, or just if someone else does better than you and is pushing harder and wants to do a better job than you, then they're going to outrank you eventually.
Sorry, I'm trying to find if there's a plugin for the pricing table, because like someone's asking. This is custom built, I'm pretty sure. Like there's no like file code from like some random plugin or something. So this is custom built. This is like they hired a developer to build this pretty much. So yeah, I was checking that out. Anyway, yeah. So like the entire site's content is like that. It's complete crap. I think the shame is not how much they dropped; it's how high they went. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like it's interesting to look at it this way, because then it's like you're like, actually maybe these updates are not so bad if they actually catch this kind of size. Problem is, I believe there's a lot of false positives as well, and that's kind of the issue here. But this wasn't one for sure. You wanted to talk about another digital caliper or something? You wanted to talk about that?
Yeah. So I looked at this keyword, electric caliper, and they used to be number one for it. They lost it. But what's interesting is that Amazon.com is actually now number one for that keyword electric caliper. So it seems like Amazon has been pushing more and more to actually have best X type keyword, to have pages targeting that. And they have this system, I forget what it's called. One of our friends is in it.
Yeah, where people can write on it and they get commissions, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you write the content for Amazon's page, then you essentially get to put your affiliate links on their page that rank. So it's very attractive in that sense, but it also means they get really good content for free. And they only offer this to like their top affiliates, their top publishers who are making, you know, like 6 figures plus a month. So that is quite an interesting dynamic. And there have been a lot of people saying, "Oh, affiliate sites with these updates, that affiliate sites got targeted, affiliate sites lost. Google doesn't like affiliate sites," and people saying like, "Oh, I should just, you know, write more info content so I won't be seen as an affiliate site," as if that's going to like solve the problem. But my response to that has always been, well, look at the SERP, like look who's still there, and in the vast majority of cases, we see other affiliate sites or other sites with affiliate sections.
Yeah, some people went up, right?
But this is one of those cases where we literally do see there's fewer affiliate sites because Amazon itself is there. Although the article is an affiliate article on Amazon, they're just kind of trying to get in there and like bully their way in with their super high DR.
No, this is not. In this case, it's not an article. It's just
Oh, it's
random
just the product
listing.
page?
Yeah. I just Googled it and like I'm on the US subs, and it's just these two. It's just like actual pages.
So for a keyword electric caliper, that makes sense. But if it was best electric caliper, I've seen examples of that happening as well.
Yeah. Roy said the thing is they lasted 4 years with massive traffic. I doubt they had tons of overheads. They still made out like bandits. Yeah, they made a lot of money. It's true. And they made a lot of profit, I believe, as well, even with complete crap content. So it's possible. But I guess these updates make it harder.
I really don't want to be too hard on anyone or any site owner that falls kind of victim or has this.
We were as well, right?
Because
if you open House Ambition, there's some articles we wouldn't be proud of.
There's certainly that, but all of that time, all that 4 years they were doing so well, Google was rewarding them for everything they were doing. So it makes sense that Google essentially trained them to act in the way that they did up until this point through the algorithm. So you can't really blame them for doing more of it and trying to capitalize on it and trying to do as good a job as they can. But it's an important lesson. If you want your site to be around for a very long period of time, then you've just always got to be at the forefront of quality in that sense. So.
Yeah, I think it's also very hard. Like when a site does well, you instinctively just want to do more content and you want to like scale your team, etc. And it's very hard to like grow fast and maintain quality. So very often you start a site that like you're proud of, and you kind of like you're like, well, we need 3 more writers. We have all these keywords to write about, and we have, we don't have the capacity, or it's gonna take years or something. And so you hire people, and that's usually when your standards drop. And then I think that's what happened to RunnerClick as well a bit.
If you look at this one architecture lab who rank for calipers
Best
or
calipers,
whatever, where BestOfMachinery used to. This review is actually much better. So I mean, they're talking about the specifics of what makes an electric or digital caliper like good. What do you look for? There's far less fluff. The buying guide is much better. It's just a better review. It's like it's helpful to people actually looking for it. BestOfMachinery, like without being sort of like too harsh, they've just tried to like throw a bunch of content on there and rank for that keyword to capture interest and hope people click. The architecture lab site, they have actually tried to make a good review, which is going to help people, and it really shows there's a big difference between what's happened results wise and just how that reads.
Yeah, I agree. I like it better. I like that site better. They're doing a good job. This is AWP they're using here. They're using a lot of codes from affiliate sites, but they put actual useful content in between, so they have like these pros and cons. They have these kind of like mini product boxes. They have a nice little comparison table on top. So they have all these things that actually generate good revenue as an affiliate, but the content is a lot better. And well, it shows. There's more actually about BestOfMachinery. Again, I went into their link profile and they basically have a bunch of link farm links as well. So I had this one. I can't remember what the anchor text is. I wish I wrote it down. But this site looks okay, but like, so I was like, okay, is this a link farm or not? Let me just try to find their link first. BestOfMachinery, okay. This is drill press for a workbench, and you click and you go to run a preview, right? Classic. So you're like, well, this looks okay, this site, to be honest, it's not that bad. But I check a lot of articles on that site, and everyone has essentially the same SOP where they have like one authoritative link, one link to Wikipedia, one link to like whatever, and one link to this thing. Oh, here you also have like another like benched hydraulic press is another roundup preview type site, affiliate site. So like, and it's not just for this one, right? Here's another roundup preview link in that article. That's just one article, by the way, guys. And so like, it happens pretty much for all the articles on that site. So that site is just a giant link farm, and it's like, yeah, it's not just this one. If we go on the homepage, please let me go. What are we gonna find here? Classic doors or something. Okay, same here. We have this one is not an affiliate link actually. Of course, I don't get, but like I found a bunch basically, and you can see that there's a lot of these weird categories in there, etc. It's a giant link farm, this site. I don't know if it's a PBN or something, but it is a link farm. And I had this one as well. Tools woodworkers should have. Okay, this one was a more obvious one if I remember properly.
Christian's asking, are you always browsing without an ad blocker? I think that's just because he's
Yes.
in incognito at the moment.
No. I want to see ads. That's the point.
Ah.
Like, if you do marketing, you want to see ads, right? I want to see what people are doing. Like, literally today, I sent examples of Facebook ads that were targeting me to Mark, and I was like, oh, this is a good idea. We should look at this for some of our campaigns. And so I want to see ads as a marketer. Like, the only place where I cut ads is on YouTube because it's fucking annoying. But otherwise, I want to see ads, actually.
So CMF, he posted a really interesting point. He said, I think that affiliate sites have to fully reinvent themselves. I disagree. I think that the sites you're seeing get hit are not being hit because they're affiliate sites. Google is not going after affiliate sites because it wants to get rid of affiliate sites. Just so happens that there's a lot of shit affiliate sites out there. And there's a lot of affiliate sites that were built, especially older ones, but newer ones as well, that have bad content. Their SEO is just bad in general. And they don't deserve to be where they are. And there are a few exceptions, but generally those are the sites that are being hit and you're seeing suffer. So does that mean that if you have a really good affiliate site out there and your content is top of the industry, whatever you're in, and you're really like constantly striving to improve things, does it mean that you need to reinvent yourself because you're an affiliate site? My opinion is that I don't think that's the case at all. So all these people saying that it's the ratio of affiliate content, or, commercial content to info content and things like that, I honestly don't believe that there's any truth to that, and rebalancing something like that alone won't make any difference to your site, in my opinion.
No, if you do it right. I mean, look, the Wirecutter forever has been a 100% commercial site, right? Like every page was like roundup reviews and single reviews and selling stuff. And Google has never considered dropping them down. And there's a lot of like really good sites that just review stuff. It's fine. Like some of the most popular YouTube channels are just reviewing products, right? And it's not like YouTube's penalizing them or anything like that, quite the opposite. So it's not a shame to make money with your content. It's a shame to make shitty content and then try to make money with it. And I think that's what Google is after, and that's the way you need to look at it. CMF actually had a follow-up comment that says the issue is that 95% of the affiliate sites currently on the market, on the major marketplaces, are plagued by the same issues: poor content, lack of VAT, toxic backlinks, profiles, etc. I agree. We don't buy sites for that reason. Yeah.
I agree 100% with that, and that's the reason why this is fundamentally, it's a risky business to get into buying sites like that, especially if you don't know what you're doing, because they can like evaporate overnight. Yeah. But just to be clear, I don't think it's because they're an affiliate site that's the problem. I think it's because of all the things you've
the execution. It's how you do things. Correct. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's like go check reviews by MKBHD on YouTube. You will see what a really good review is. Or iPhone Do as well. He's really entertaining. He reviews tech stuff. Check that kind of stuff. Car Wow for cars in the UK. The guy is amazing.
Oh, really good.
If you want to see good reviews, go check that. I'm buying a car. As I said, I just got my license today, so here you go. Yeah.
How many times did it take you to the test to get that
times? About as many times as it's gonna take me to do a proper stream, you know. So yeah, that's I mean, that's what we believe in. Again, it's a point of view. We don't say that what we say is absolute truth, etc. So feel free to take other people's point of view and compare them and make your own opinion. Basically, apply some critical sense. But we see a lot of commercial sites that are doing just fine, right? Yeah. So basically, yeah, let me just jump back onto the screen. So here we go. So yeah, this is also a link farm. Pretty sure like there's a lot of like pretty much obvious things like BestOfMachinery, etc. And then if you go for the rest of the site, it's pretty much the same stuff. Oh god, these ads are annoying. It's like 6 chips modifications you need right now. And same, like the link to Jeep, and then here's like an authority link to car.us news. And then floor liners, this is a Wirecutter link, also one, but here it's the, oh fuck, the previous one I wanted. This one is actually the kind of like commercial link in there that's like, so it's like all articles are like that, there's some authority links, etc. And then they mix it with a branded link to a commercial site. This is a link farm, I can tell pretty quickly. Anything to say on BestOfMachinery?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about a site. I think we talked about it before. Garage Gym Power. I think
that was in one of our podcasts, like the top affiliate sites or something like that.
Examples of affiliate sites. It was in there. They got hit, actually. So here we go. We need to redo that podcast. Let's check. DR30. So it's not that high. Like most people in this chat can have a DR30 site. It's really not that difficult. Oof. Makes me think of like proper roller coaster, you know, when you climb slowly and then they just like drop you. And then
someone posted a comment like right at the start, Alton Towers, which like hashtag Alton Towers, which is the name of a theme park in the UK. So whoever that was, I got that joke.
By the way, we're gonna answer questions at the end. We're gonna do just this site, I think, and then after that we're just gonna do questions.
Yeah. We'll take some of your sites if you guys. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think too many people want to put their own site for copycat reasons. But if there's a site you're like, how the fuck did they get penalized? Then share that with us in 5 minutes or so, and we'll go through those.
Yeah. So these guys got hit. But I remember on the podcast that you said you didn't like the content that much, if I remember properly. Do you remember that?
I can't remember now.
Okay, let me just, I took one example of a piece of content here. So I took this, I didn't pick a commercial piece of content because let's change a bit, you know? So like this article, like best build a garage gym on a budget. I speak too fast, that's my problem. The keyword is building a home gym. It's basically, here's the keyword, guys. And also here, and then building your home gym on a budget is like a secondary keyword they're targeting, which is why they have it in their URL slug. And I'm sure if I search building a home gym, yep, here we go. Here's the exact keyword, guys. So that's how you know that this is. And the keyword, if we open on Ahrefs, is a 900 search per month keyword, which makes sense. It's about the right volume. It's a bit hard for a DR30 site. Like keyword difficulty 35. I'd call it a little bit hard, especially when YouTube is a featured snippet, and then you have a DR80 on number one. But you know, here you have a DR30, for example, and you have a DR43 here. So who knows? But the DR30 has 83 keyword domains. Anyway, what do I want to say on this? Yeah, I did a software analysis on this actually. So I wanted to just see how they're building their content and if the okay. Okay, so far.
Gotta love live streaming.
Yeah. Hello. Now everyone's expecting to see the keywords, but I actually but I'm not that stupid. Good choice. So you guys are not gonna see the keywords. I am sorry. I prepared that already. So there's the building a home gym query, and I actually prepared that. So actually, when I check the audit, these guys actually do a good job at optimizing their content. So I don't think they have that big of a content issue. The one thing that I found is they're actually slightly over-optimized, I think, if I remember. Yeah, they're a little bit over-optimized, except for Garage Gym Lab, etc. So they put a lot of exact keywords pretty much in there. Everything is like, I'll remove some. So they might be, you know, it's like there's this thing where you go over a certain threshold, Google is hitting you. I don't think that's what caused this big core algorithm update or something like this big drop, but if all the pages on their site are over-optimized, it's something that I'd be a little bit careful of, because this is an SEO site, and yeah, same here, like partial keyword over-optimized, exact keyword over-optimized, and keywords in H2 to H6 over-optimized. So that's pretty much the only thing I found with these guys. And then the content was, so the content is interesting because it's kind of like written in the style that I write, you know, I put like these like 3-word sentences, question, and then I just put the rest, so it's really easy to read. But I found it not very useful and interesting. Like you built a home gym recently, right?
Yep.
And I mean, you should read that. But like I couldn't build a home gym from that. It's just like it's just a copywriter who wrote it, but there's no real
Yeah,
meat of information, you
it's
know?
not good. So when you're building a home gym, like you have a space, and it's often very limited, and you need to be able to know. You need to know what type of equipment you're going to put in there. Will it fit? What are the most important things you need? Like some people like machines and space for yoga or whatever. Other people want to have like a power rack in there. But generally, when you're building a home gym, like what you just had on screen there, a jump rope is like really far down the list of things
Yes.
you're thinking about. It won't fit in most people's home gym, because the height when you're jumping and it's above you is often going to be too high. Maybe in some garages it will fit, but if it's anywhere else, then you're gonna have struggles. So that says to me that they haven't really thought too much about that. The most important things are like the flooring. So what goes on the bottom, like that lifting platform that person's
Yeah, yeah. This is
built
another
there.
site. I'm just checking how much they talk about floor, you know?
Yeah, plates, dumbbells, dumbbell racks, barbells, but jump rope and
They have some deadly platform stuff here, actually. A
yeah,
little bit. Yeah,
but
but
it's tough.
overall, the page that ranks, that's DR30, Garage Gym Lab, is a million times better. Like this, the structure of it is not as chatty. Like it doesn't feel as chatty, but it feels much more information packed. So they just make you a list, and there's no jump rope here. You know, there's like a rack. That's what most people want: barbell, plate, bench, etc. And that's what you will probably find on the other things. So like I think they're just missing the topic here. Like maybe they're off topic. Then like if you check Out of Manliness as well, which is like the really high DR site that's ranking for this. It's probably going to be the same stuff as well. It's going to be like talking about a rack, yeah, Olympic barbell, having a rack, etc., weight plates, etc. Oh, they have the jump rope. Huh, interesting. Actually, I didn't expect that. Yeah, this is a hard one to catch because I didn't find bad links to that site as well. So I'm not sure. Like I'm not.
It's
a harder one. You
one
know?
of those pieces of content that's, again, there's no love to it. There's no like deep thought. It's, hey, writer, go write an article about this keyword, and a writer. I'm not even saying it's like a really bad writer, and it's just gone and produced that without thinking about the intent or without looking at the other articles ranking closely, or maybe stuff like this was ranking before and that's why they've done
Yeah.
it. But Google's realized that this actually isn't what people want, and for all the people last year who were building home gyms because of lockdowns and all the various rules and stuff, this article, the article that from the side of the tent wasn't good, wasn't helping them, whereas the others were.
Yeah, I could imagine that it's a sub that has moved a lot in terms of competitive landscape as well because of the conditions. Like a lot of people building home gyms, and therefore like a lot of these big sites you can see like Shape is here, New York Mark is here, you know, New York Mag is here, CNET is here. Like again, like you can afford to do that when you're DR91, you know. But like otherwise, it's like CNET is a technology site. They have nothing to do here, but they are here.
So, this is a really good question. Ian's like, wasn't this the same site you mentioned
Yes,
in your
he
past
did.
episode? Successful affiliate sites. And this is why you should take anything anyone in SEO says with more than a pinch of salt, really. And I'm including ourselves in this because we kind of like, we identified this as a site which it was punching above its weight, maybe like it had a low DR, but it was still ranking for a bunch of terms. And so we didn't look at the whole picture, but we were looking at, okay, what are some good things that the site is doing? And that must be why it's justifying it.
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
actually
obviously
doing
they
the
were low
opposite.
DR doing. Sorry.
We're actually doing the opposite of that now. So we're just going through these sites and saying, oh, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. Like, we don't know for sure that these are the core issues as to why they've lost all their
We're
traffic.
not Google, right?
But this is why it's so difficult to come up with an answer when someone's like, oh, what do I need to do to fix my site? Or why did sites lose traffic? And this is why we had a hour and 40 or hour and 15-minute podcast on Monday, plus a however long this is going to be follow-up episode just to position it, because there's so much nuance to it, and we just want to give you our opinion and our.
There's no definitive answer, but there's things you can do to your site to improve it, and that's why it's like through these examples, we hope that you can look at your own sites and then be like, well, maybe I should look at this before I get penalized, and hopefully we avoid drama by the next update, pretty much. Alex is saying, could be an EAT issue here. YMYL, I can see they are writing about health benefits of some things with no health authority or fact checking by a health professional. I don't believe in the EAT stuff, in that like fact checking thing, etc. Personally, I think it's more about the subtopics you hit on your page. But I'm not Google, so it could be. I'm not saying it can be. I'm just saying I'm semi-convinced by that argument.
I think you're less likely to be affected by that if it is a thing for a home fitness site than you are, if you're talking about supplements and back pain and issues like that. Perhaps they've veered into some of that territory, but I wouldn't expect most of their content is still about home gym stuff. I wouldn't expect them to be negatively affected if they have a few articles about that aren't kind of backed up in any significant way. A lot of there's no like qualification you can really have to be a home gym expert, because it requires kind of like personal training / powerlifting, bodybuilding, just general experience of being a gym person, but also of like some kind of like interior design / planning / contracting type things, when you get into like building platforms or flooring or whatever. So it's not like you can have a qualification on being a home gym expert.
Yeah, I agree. I'm checking because CMF is asking me to look at their anchor profile. So it's like I was checking now, and you can see that, it's a lot of weird anchors. Like these are really long anchors. So I'm kind of checking where this is coming from. So this is one of the anchors. This is like kind of like a wall. This is a bit of a
.biz, love it.
I don't want to click on these things,
Looks like shit.
I'm afraid.
They've got you now.
I'm afraid. I'm not clicking anymore. This is too dangerous.
Credit card has just been used.
My screen just goes like completely glitchy. Yeah, it's weird as well. Like, I didn't look before, so I'm not gonna go super.
Those are very, very over optimized anchor text.
If you look at the top backlinks. Yeah, they have a link on Wikipedia in the CrossFit page. That's pretty impressive. There are some good links actually, but like I'm looking at the anchor text. Usually the way I'm doing this is like I usually go and do follow, and then you either DR or UR. But then how you know a link is suspicious is the anchor text very often. So like investing in squat rack or power rack. Like this is probably woman fitnet. It's pretty. Never mind. I thought it was something else. This is the DR45 site. This is like, okay. Of course we get into the sex stuff. Classic. We get censored by YouTube. Here we go. Yeah. So like, do they really need to like link in this thing about like squats, etc.? I don't think so. So it's like this looks like a link that was manipulated pretty much. I'm not gonna click on any more links I didn't check before the stream. That's it, I'm done. This is why we prepare podcasts and everything, guys, because live is dangerous. But there could also be some questionable links here. Do you want to do one more, or do you want to just do questions at this point?
Let's go questions, and let's see if people have sites they want to submit. Now, when we asked people on Monday in the podcast to post a comment on YouTube with the website that you wanted us to review, a couple of people were saying that they had issues with YouTube maybe deleting the comment straight away. So I'm wondering if some people are maybe trying to post a comment in a live stream and it's not going. So I see Paul has been very crafty, and he's written marinetalk.com. So maybe if you guys aren't seeing your sites come up, I think you can try and hide it. Someone said pet life today. Did we talk about that one on Monday? Can't remember.
Yeah, we did already.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't pick it actually.
Okay. So on the podcast on our YouTube channel, we did a few days ago. We talked about pet life, so you can do it there.
Pet life is interesting because they did all the EAT stuff before they got hit, and then they still got hit anyway, which gives a lot of credit to what I was saying. So I like it. FitSmallBusiness lost a lot of traffic. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, FitSmallBusiness is an interesting one. I've seen that site come up many times before. And it's just pretty damn broad, and I'm wondering if that doesn't have something to do with it. Like generally, when you have a really broad site like that,
But yeah, it's free though.
They have issues with not just relevancy, but like keeping the content quality high, and they just like find a gazillion keywords, and then they try and scale, and it can go badly. So. That's what I suspect has happened there.
It's hard to tell. This is a complex one to analyze because it's a big one.
Get up on the screen, Gael. Let's get into this then.
Oh yeah, I thought people could see my screen. Never mind. Sorry. We are going to change that and go like this. So I am on FitSmallBusiness right now. I'm on that thing. So they are DR83, right? Again, I like to show what happened here. So I was going to Site Explorer and go FitSmallBusiness. So they are a big site. They have 21,000 referring domain, still organic traffic of 243. I wouldn't call this completely dead at this point. But they used to be at 1.7 million. So they've lost a fair bit of traffic. That sucks. And yeah, you can see there was that time period where they used to rank #1 for pretty much everything, 30,000 #1 position, etc. This is really cool. Versus now 9,000, and they're probably smaller keywords as well. So they do kind of like everything business. So they review like accounting solutions, phone systems. They review, accounting is here, and then all that stuff. And then they have quite a bit of info content as well. So it's like, again, it's an interesting one because if you want an argument of a site that still got hit by these updates, but was doing a lot of info content, FitSmallBusiness is a good example. Yeah, it's like, there is a lot of stuff like what assets, what asset-based lending, etc., etc. There's a lot of these in there. They're not all just random previews. And so this is a typical example of killing this idea of like too much commercial content for me, because I think they had less than 50% commercial content on FitSmallBusiness for sure. So the content is like not that bad, to be honest. I mean, I'm checking like the new one, so it's a bit of a trick because they might have fixed their content. So what would be interesting is to maybe go in a category. Let's go in accounting, and like, can I go back like page? Yeah, exactly. This is where we want to go. We want to dig deep into the shit content that's hidden behind 17 pages of content. Let's try to find a roundup or like something that's trying to sell something. How to import products with zero. They did question posts at the beginning a lot. You can see. I'm gonna try to look for a roundup though. I'd love to see that. Invoice example. See, most of this is info content, guys. It's not commercial, and still they got destroyed. Okay, VS article. I like it. Wave versus QuickBooks was the best in 2018. So this is an affiliate article. You can see they even have the call to actions here. Okay, so how should I try? And then I just read, right? What I like to read is in the middle of the article as well. How we determine when to use QuickBooks and Wave accounting. There are certain criteria that an accounting software must include in order to be considered legitimate. Okay, thank you very much. That was completely useless as a sentence. As part of our research, we looked at pricing and features. Okay, that's fair. Whether the product was easy or challenging to use, available. This is okay.
The content's like I don't have major complaints about it.
No, it's okay. Like, there's a bit of fluff, Like, of course, you're looking at criteria to determine which one is best. It's like, thank you very much, Captain Obvious, But the second one is okay. Like, they tell you what these criteria are, which is fair when you are about to evaluate something. So I think this is okay. So I don't think the content is terrible, to be frank. And they even have like screenshots of the software, etc. Not bad, to be honest. I think it's, and I think one thing that is interesting, is this an affiliate link or not? I'm trying to decide. Yeah, this is an affiliate link. So I was going to say they don't have too many affiliate links, but actually they have quite a bit. I think if you click, yeah, they have a lot of links actually. Yeah. Any objection on the content? Anything to say? Because I really don't actually.
No, I'm trying to like have a look at like who's ranking above them and stuff. Like it's not obviously terrible content in the way that some of the other sites were, which is more like potentially one of these things like, oh, what's actually going on here?
Yeah.
My spidey sense from the start, like I've seen this site before, and I always thought that this is actually like way too broad of a site. Like they really try and cover everything about like small business, and it's too
Yeah, I think
broad.
yeah, it's a hard one to analyze, to be honest. Like it's hard for me to like be very conclusive about this. I'm pretty sure I heard they were hiring link building services, but I I heard in a corridor of the internet that they were that they were hiring link building services. But I'm pretty sure they have good links too. You can be DR80 without good links. There's no way.
Look,
So
can we have a look at some of the competitors that like beat them now? I'm trying to find like sites.
give me a URL. Give me a
Yeah.
URL. I'll check it out.
So again, I'm not quite sure how to do this because I'm in Ahrefs Keyword Explorer or 2.0. What was it? Organic Keywords 2.0, and because
Yeah.
you can now compare like
Oh,
their
okay, yeah.
position
Okay, let's go.
compared to a year ago.
Yeah, okay.
But then Ahrefs doesn't let you sort old position, new position. It's just a position, and it doesn't actually work. The sorting doesn't work very well. So I'm trying to
and
find a
it's like
keyword.
when you
which
try to do it
pops
on a
a
big
lot.
site like that, it just takes forever. So if I compare,
Okay, so they got one online phone number. They used to be number one for it, and they've lost that. So online phone number is the keyword.
I'm just checking compared to end of 2018 right now.
Yeah.
Just to see where they were.
We'll review some of your other sites that you guys are mentioning in the comments in just a second.
How long is that stream gonna last?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully not too long. I haven't had dinner yet. So.
Yeah, me neither. Zoom pricing, Slack pricing, ConvertKit pricing, is like free company values. They were ranking for a lot of info content for sure, proposal template, etc. So what do you want me to look at exactly? Because like give me a URL.
Let's pick one of these ones that they've lost.
Okay.
And then let's look at the sites now ranking there and compare it to their piece of content.
All right, 1 second. I'm just gonna take a VS keyword or something, because VS keywords are probably some of the lowest competition affiliate keywords. Like it's usually easier than best. I would say alternatives is equally easy as VS, and then review is kind of like in between. So I'm going to try to find some VS keywords. So I filtered in Ahrefs, I put VS, and hopefully Ahrefs finds me something in there so we can take an affiliate keyword here. I'm trying to find something completely lost as well. But made first classic business cards. I don't like this very much. We can do this one. Yeah, they lost 3 positions. Quicken versus QuickBooks. So give me a site that's competing with them. Or we'll just look at the keyword.
Just look at the SERP, yeah.
Yeah. So it's Investopedia, that's above them, and Fundera. That's fetching their data right now. Yeah, DR91, Investopedia, classic. And let's check what they have. So Investopedia, I don't think they have to do a better job. The DR91. It's just like a pure brute force article. This is a bit of a shit article on Investopedia, and they still rank. So you can see that Google also tends to like hide DR sites a bit better these days than they used to. I'm checking the page on FitSmallBusiness, but it's a better page. It is actually better content. So it might just be literally that in that niche, it was a pure power play of like really high DR sites that took over because Google just prefers that as well. Like there might just be nothing wrong they did, but rather Google, as they say when they do these updates, they have changed the way they categorize content, and maybe authority, especially in the business stuff. There's a lot of large business sites I mean, this is shittier. Like Founder's page is shittier than FitSmallBusiness. Like, I'm sorry, there's no screenshots, there's no nothing. It's a worse page, you know. So it's one of these things where you're like, Google, what the hell are you doing, you know?
The problem I have with all of these sites is that, like, if I'm actually looking to
it's shit, yeah.
understand, like if I'm going to try and understand whether I want to use QuickBooks or Quicken, I don't trust any of these sites to
Yeah.
like actually give me an objective opinion on it, because they're not very well thought out and probably not written by people who really use the tool
Yep.
extensively. So if there was like a specialist site which written by an accountant that had used both of them inside out and had a really nice review, then it's probably kind of right for the taking over for keyword like that. And that's my problem with FitSmallBusiness in general, is just that, like, I don't really trust what they're saying with a lot of their reviews. Capterra, I think, I'm not sure if it's Capterra. There's a few of these sites that do kind of crowdsourced reviews in a way. So they like automatically generate a lot of the review content based on like what other people are saying, and you can kind of go and vote for it and things like that. I don't know.
Yeah, the only way I do these things now is I literally just put Reddit at the end and I read conversations.
Reddit's good. You get a lot of like conversation you have to weed through.
Exactly.
Honestly, like YouTube's pretty good as well, because
YouTube's
generally
pretty good too.
it's much easier to create a shit piece of written content, but if you're going the effort to do a YouTube video, like, it's so competitive, and like the quality bar is so much higher, so you generally get better stuff.
Yeah.
Not always, but sometimes.
Should we take some other questions? Because I don't really have that much to say on FitSmallBusiness. Okay, what are we going to take?
Did we invest in GME? No, I didn't.
No. I have a friend who invested at 300 and sold at 70, so don't take his advice. It was fun to follow him, but paper hands, you know. Let's just take some general questions in general, because I don't think we have time to review more sites, to be honest. I think it's been a while. I'd like to take questions for 10, 15 minutes or something. So I guess there was a question here. Christian said, so December 2020 core updates was targeting content. We can't say for sure, again, you know, it's like, we don't want to say that, but you know, you find a lot of issues in the sites that went down as well, and it's like,
you
can't tell which issue is causing that, you know.
We're at that point now, and we have been for several years now, where these updates are not targeting one specific thing. And just because we've talked about content as being an important factor here, doesn't mean that update was necessarily targeting it. It makes it really difficult, because as a site owner, you're like, well, what do we do to fix this or to stop this from happening ourselves? Like, is there a specific button that we need to press, or do we add EAT? Does that fix it? That's not the best approach. That's not the best way of thinking about it. The best way of thinking about it is to take a principles-based view. So you want to have, like, what does Google want to have? I mean, it wants to make as much money from ads as possible, if we're being cynical, but their like real mission, at least it should be, is to have the best content ranking, to have really, really good search results, so people keep using Google all of the time. So in order for them to do that, they need to have the most relevant, best content appear number one. So you want to be making sure that your content is always there. And over time, as competitors come and try and outdo you, you need to stay ahead of them and just always have the best article about whatever topic it is you're writing about. And if you do that, then there will be times when sites with shit content come and beat you, and it's annoying, and I know, but in the long run, you win most of the time.
Yeah, I'm going to take the next question, which is, how do you expect ranking drops when Google is releasing core vitals? Basically, I don't know if you even follow that, because it's not really Mark's area of interest, this kind of technical things, but Google is essentially going to make these core vitals things as a ranking factor, and you could be potentially losing rankings if you're scoring poorly on these. And it's quite frustrating, because in Webmasters Console, they're very, very strict. Like, if your page is like if the layout is changing a little bit after loading, which is often the case when you try to optimize for page speed. You load some stuff after the main page has loaded so that you get better scores. They flag you for that, so people are freaking out. I don't believe it's going to be a big factor. I might be wrong. Like, this is kind of like a take on this. But they did the same for pop-ups, remember? For the interstitial updates. They were like, oh my God, this is going to be a ranking factor. If you have intrusive pop-ups, etc., your rankings are going to drop. And then the update came, and then nothing happens. If you go on Notary Hacker, we still use pop-ups. And I've tried to turn off pop-ups for like a month on some sites just to see, how the rankings would be affected. And I've seen absolutely no change, right? And the thing is, like, people imagine that every webmaster is like following Google's news and updates and like ready as soon as they say things, etc. It's not the case. Like, they need to cater also to like small business owners who don't follow that stuff at all, etc., and who might have this kind of like poor core web vitals and would not rank despite them deserving to rank because of that. So I don't believe it's going to be a big factor. And I think it's one of these things where they will turn the dial very, very slowly. And I might be wrong, but I think people are over-obsessing over that. And that eventually there will be technical solutions where like your CDN is going to do this for you, for example. They will like, because they essentially load your files. So like I can see Cloudflare just like taking care of a lot of this stuff once this becomes a factor and this becomes a demand from their customers, So I wouldn't obsess over this pretty much.
Like Farhan saying, core update queries are always fun. Watching people's heads rolling around.
Yes.
It really, like, I feel like we've almost come full circle in a way. I remember 7-8 years ago reading something Rand Fishkin, who used to work at Moz, which was back then SEO Moz. He was like, just create quality content. That's all you do. And I was like, that's bullshit. What does that actually mean? How do you do that? How do you break that down? What do you do? But I feel like I'm kind of like falling into that same trap in a way. And here we're just saying, oh, just create the best content you can, and you'll
Yeah,
always...
but I prefer giving. That's why I like opening websites and giving examples of like what not to do as well. Like when we're like, okay, like what is a tile in this fucking page? It's like, okay, that's exactly what you need to avoid. It's like people Googling this know what a tile is. I think they care more about materials used. Like usually for tiles, what matters is like there's a degree of rigidity and then there's some thick ones and thin ones, and so different ones will look at different levels. That's what you need to talk about on that page, and I'm sure it's not talked about, So it's like that's what good content is actually getting into your topic. And I think getting to know about your niche in general is going to help you with that. A lot of people don't know their niche, the niche that they're working in. They don't know the topic. As you can tell, I can talk about a lot of random topics because we worked in a lot of stuff. We can technically talk about a lot of things,
Back
and
when we did the juicing silo and on Health Ambition, we both got juicers, and we really started to understand. We used it and we started to understand what they all did and how it worked, and learned it kind of not inside out, but much more than
we could talk about it.
A lot of people back then were literally just picking a niche, farming off 50 keywords to a writing agency, and not really paying too much attention to it. There's a big difference between that final 20% that takes 80% of the time to do. It makes all of the difference.
Yeah. Let me take the other one. Off topic, does anyone know a product comparison table that works with other stuff than AAWP? I just couldn't find a good one online. We do ours on Elementor. I literally made a tutorial for H Pro members and test members last week. So it's like I literally made, if you are in test or H Pro, you can check that out. Yeah, we have some stuff behind paywall, I'm sorry. But it can be done with Elementor, and that's why I like Elementor. You can build these widgets, and it's quite nice. There's a question that says, did some of the H Pro members get hit? Yes, it happened. I mean, even one of our sites got hit essentially at the beginning, so it can happen. But it doesn't mean
joining our paid courses does not insulate you from Google, unfortunately, as nice as that would be a USP for us.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I
think the good question is, did they get hit more or less than the general population? No idea. Generally, what happens when there's an update is that someone will post, updates happening, and then in all the groups, the people who were affected positively or negatively will be the most vocal about it. Negatively, by far the most vocal about it. And then the vast majority of people in that group who see that, who were unaffected by it, will not post. But just because of the sort of selection bias, you see all the extreme examples commenting, and it can lead you to think that 90% of the people commenting here got hit, therefore 90% of people in this community or this group got hit. But that doesn't usually work like that.
Yeah. The next question is there anything that you can do when a competitor spins bits of your content and ends up outranking you? It's fucking annoying. It happens. Happened on the Toy Hacker quite a bit, actually. Like a lot of people have done that on some articles. I remember I made an article on like freshness and like how to like updating the dates on your articles makes you rank higher and things like that. And like there's some guy who literally rewrote the same article and then just say he didn't, and then I got quite pissed off. And I think he's ranking higher than us today, actually. There's not much you can do, to be honest.
No, like try not to take it too personally for first thing. Like you're running a business, you're going to encounter people like this and these kinds of competitive behaviors. It's just part of the sort of territory, really. So don't take it too personally. Rather than focusing in on what they're doing and getting all distracted, just focusing on making yours better and do better than they have. One of my friends gets really competitive in these situations. He was saying like he put up like a list post of like 27 things about X. His competitor did the same, but like 37. And then they ended up in this like one-upsmanship war where they ended up with like 150 things, 200 things, and just they kept trying to outdo each other, to outrank each other. But I was kind of saying to him, like, dude, just take number 2 and like spend your time like, you know, not fighting that battle and like doing other stuff. It's a bit of an ego situation there. So yeah, just be careful of falling into that trap as well.
Okay, so there's an interesting one from Ian that said, fair enough, but any conclusion? I guess on the algorithms, etc. Yeah, it's. I think you can find major issues on every site that got hit, and so, you know, Google says it in their Twitter that it's like, you know, just essentially fix your sites, like make them great. Look at this. And really, I don't think anyone has like anything more actionable. I was mentioning these agencies that use that angle of talking about core updates as a marketing ploy, but then when you become their client, they exactly do that. They just go ahead and find all these issues with your links, with your content, etc., and they just go ahead and fix that. And you know, a fair percentage of sites do come back when they get fixed, and they don't really know which part got the site back, but they know that the site has issues and they fix that. So it's frustrating because I wish I could say, just go ahead and fix your anchor text and that's it, you get your rankings back. But unfortunately, these updates are not, I mean, it might be something like that. We just don't know, to be honest. And so they're hard to read, you know?
A big part of why we're doing this content is because there were people who were saying, hey, look at all these sites that got hit. They're good. This is just random, where they're drawing conclusions which were, in my opinion, wrong. Like, it's because they were an affiliate site that they got hit. Unfortunately, there's no conclusion in the sense that we can't give you a specific reason of this is what the update was about. There's only 3.5 hours of nuanced discussion explaining the finer points of like what's a good site and what's a bad site, and all the detail which we've talked about this week. And hopefully that will help you guys at least try to interpret why some of the sites you're seeing get hit and think about them in some of the ways which at least we're thinking about them as well. So I'm sorry we can't give you a just look at this and fix this. It's much deeper than that.
There's like a precise question here. Have you noticed that Google ranks pages poorly when submitted manually to index? So in the webmaster's console, there's that button you can use, rather than letting the crawler find that content naturally. No, I haven't found that. We have, on high authority sites, we submit some pages and they literally rank within 5 minutes when we submit them, and rank on page 1, right? Like middle of page 1, sometimes even like top 3 in page 1, etc. If we have the authority and it's not that competitive of a keyword. So no, I would disagree with that, actually.
I would also say that, was that the thing towards the end of last year that like it was off for quite a while?
Yeah, they put it back on, yeah.
And I've seen a few people like say that it's either not working or like not as responsive as the way it should have was working before, but they were having some kind of like crawler issues, as I understand. So I don't know. Maybe if you're experiencing problems, it's still like not quite fixed or something. I don't know.
Okay. Dimitri is asking, is this way it's better having multiple smaller size so you have less chance of getting hit? It's a
Ooh.
tricky question, this one. Yeah, it's
No, it's generally not better having smaller sites, and it's generally not better to diversify your traffic or try and do that kind of thing, because you miss more of the upside. With websites, it kind of in the same way that with domain authority, like a DA90 website is much better than two DA or DR9045 websites. Like this,
yeah.
it gets
Especially when it's not linear,
exponentially. It gets well, that's the DA scale. You get my point. Like the more gravity there is around a project, and the more you focus on doing one thing very, very well, the exponentially better the site becomes, and more money you can potentially make. Which is why you don't see so many people running hundreds of websites now, but that was a thing 7-8 years ago. These like AdSense blog networks and all this stuff were doing it, but that's why authority sites are.
I think there's an argument though for if you're doing well in one niche, let's say you have one site that's successful, there's an argument for making more sites with the same editorial team in the same niche. Because essentially it's running the same team, but you can kind of like diversify your risk a bit towards these updates.
Well,
and also you can take multiple spots for profitable keywords as well. Like you have found some keywords that make money. You can get more traffic for these keywords by having multiple sites ranking.
I wouldn't always agree that if you use the same team and do the same like what you've done before, that's diversifying risk. I think that's
but you can take a slightly different angle, like.
Can you imagine if like one of those sites, the machinery site, got hit? We're like, oh, we're doing really well. Let's start another website and do the exact same thing with our content. Most likely, both of them would have gotten hit there. So it's not random that it gets hit. That your site.
But I think there's synergies. It's like if you want to do multiple projects, I like the idea of doing it in the same niche. If you have already one successful site, so the first thing is to get one that works, and after one growth plan can be to have multiple domains, and there's a degree of diversification in there as well. To be honest, I would say. I have been ending. I guess submitting your content in October, and it's still not indexed.
Put this on screen.
Yeah, sorry. Oops. I'm just old school. Yeah, I mean, basically, like submitting content in October, on the 15th of October, still not indexed. Yeah, Google hasn't been the fastest at indexing content in the last few months.
Newer sites
it takes forever.
Much worse as well. So if it is a new site, you're not alone here.
Yeah, there's a question like, do you have experience using user-generated reviews in a single review post similar to Capterra or G2? No, we haven't done that, and we tend to like taking editorial positions rather than making an aggregator site. Like it's not my favorite. It's possible, but it's hard to get quality content that way.
This is a personal interest thing. Like I don't trust sites like Capterra or whatever. I don't really like to go there if I'm trying to find something out. So I would have a hard time kind of putting a site like that out there. I like the super detailed, super nerdy authority hacker style reviews when I'm buying anything. So yeah, that's kind of why we like to create those sites.
Yeah. Do you think theme updates influence rankings negatively for short term? Kind of feels like they reevaluate your site for a short while after a big theme change. I guess WordPress theme change, not content change. Yeah. We have seen jumps. I've seen mostly jump ups when I guess we picked the right themes maybe. So I guess you can go down as well by changing the theme. Yes, it's like I've seen weird things happen when you change your WordPress theme when you have rankings, so it's possible.
Let's just take a few more. I really want to get some dinner now. But.
All right. Okay. Will this core update significantly affect keyword research for people building new sites right now? Well, it's always better to do the keyword research after the update, so you actually you check what's happened, what the stuff looks like right now. Other than that, not really, because it's if let's say Google prefers high authority sites for core, it's just the keyword is gonna look too competitive. You're not gonna write for it. So it's not specifically at this point. It's just like, I mean, the shakeups are not that frequent anymore, right? It's like once every 6 months now, maybe. So it's like, yeah, I didn't really
I
change
don't
the
think it
strategy.
changes the way you want to structure your site. I don't think you go for info sites rather than affiliate sites, or
It's kind of the
nothing of
same, yeah.
that changes. It's just like the fundamentals of building a good site. Like, look at what's currently ranking, but if it feels like it kind of doesn't really deserve to be there, then it doesn't necessarily mean it's
Yeah.
going to stay there for a while.
I wanted to highlight as well that, like, seeing these sites fall is scary. But I think what's quite amazing is that they managed to get this high and make this much money in the first place as well. I mean, these guys made a large profit as well. They're not leaving empty pocketed. They can start a new project. They have money in the bank if they didn't buy Lamborghinis, And unlike you, Mark, who buys sports cars apparently.
I don't. I drive a used Volkswagen, but someone thought I did because I made a joke about it. So yeah.
Mark made a joke in the
So-
course about having a sport car, which is not true. He just has like a Golf, a Volkswagen Golf, and someone in the refund reason for the course said that they were not happy because Mark was mentioning he was
I was
using their money
flaunting
to
my
buy
wealth
sports cars.
too much.
You should be ashamed. So if you didn't do that, then they have
but
money,
what-
and I think it's positive in general. Yeah.
But what's interesting is we did a podcast a while back around how to get rich with online marketing, and the kind of title was sexy and stuff, but really the way is just like, be very frugal, and when your website's making some money, take the profit and invest it very carefully and sensibly, and just get rich slowly doing boring stuff. That's how it works, and that's like kind of what we're trying to do here, really. So to answer the question is, since SEO can be so volatile, do you focus on long-term KPIs mostly? Yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
the
We also spend a lot less than we make in general. Like, it's like we save a lot of money personally, etc. Like, I mean, we're not exactly dressed in a fancy way. Or like we have good lives, but we just when we make more money than we need, then we put it aside. And so even if things went wrong, I mean, both Mark and I would be completely fine for a very long time.
I think as
that
well,
helps,
it's worth looking at a lot of stuff you do annually as opposed to monthly or weekly. So if your traffic goes up or down 20%, for any normal business, if they get 20% fewer customers one month to the other, that's pretty significant. But that's just how it works in SEO. So kind of don't freak out too much. Take a long-term view, as you said, and kind of things will be okay.
Okay, Gizmo Plans is asking, outsourcing quality content, where do you put your money? You take it.
So when you say outsourcing content, what do you mean? Because most people, when talk about outsourcing content, they're like, well, I need these 100 keywords that I've identified written up really, really good. Who can I get to do it? And maybe they'll go to an agency or some other provider and get it done. But producing quality content is something you have to be really involved in. And it's really a core competency of what you do, not an outsourceable task per se. When we create content, like for this new site we started like 6 months or so ago, like it was such a struggle going back and forth, like trying to figure out how to structure the content and looking at what else is out there and trying to get our heads around it. And like we were so involved in that. The writer we hired came in, and I warned her during the application process. I was like, look, we're figuring this stuff out. We really care about like making this just perfect. And most likely, like the first couple of times you submit an article, we'll tear it to pieces and you have to start from scratch again. Don't worry, this is our process. It's normal, just warning you. And sure enough, that happened. We ended up having to pay her like 2 or 3 times, can't remember, like to do the same article, just because we weren't clear on what we wanted. She wrote something and then we're like, actually, this isn't right. This isn't right. We need to do this. And it's just being so anal about every little detail of the content.
Okay, it's late enough now.
As good as possible, as relevant as possible. And that's the mentality you need to have to make it good.
When we hired Louis for Authority Hacker, the first 2 months of his job, we didn't publish a single word of what he wrote. So yeah, that gives an idea.
But it got really good in the end. So
yeah, definitely. And then he quit. God damn it. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. I just wanted to tell everyone, if you're still here, please don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribing to the channel already. If the live does well in terms of stats, etc., we might do more. So we're gonna check that a bit later. Next time we'll do
this if you want more.
Yeah, just put a thumb up, etc.
What do we do in live stream?
Click all the buttons, Yeah, it's the same as YouTube
or something as well, like they do on Twitch. I don't know how this works.
No, we don't need beats or anything like that. It's fine. Yeah, if you subscribe, if you do all of that, that helps us, and that just tells us we should do more lives. We will put a proper title on the stream next time. I think I figured out how to do this. But thank you for joining in. It was interesting, but Mark is very hungry at this point, so we need to let him eat. Otherwise, he gets grumpy. So thank you for joining in, and we will see you next time. Have a good evening or good morning, wherever you are. Bye.